It's the man YSN, and you're listening to YSN Radio. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Y'all know what time it is, man. You're rocking with the man YSN, and you're tuning into the episode of YSN Radio, the coolest podcast in the South, man. We are back for another episode, man, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. It's been a crazy week in hip-hop, man. We're going to cover a lot of stuff today. Personally, it's been a lot of cool stuff going on in my life, too. I just wrapped up my first semester of grad school last week. Super cool, super excited. I finally jumped off the portion of the grad school thing. I've been wanting to pursue a master's since my junior year of college. So, you know, life happened after I finished school, and so kept putting it off, and finally just said, fuck it, man. I'm only getting older, and I need to go ahead and get this out the way. So I'm in this online program here at UT, getting my master's degree in digital marketing. Technically, it's called strategic and digital communication, which is just a fancy way of saying digital marketing and advertising. I just wrapped up my first semester. I was doing that all summer, and pleased to say 4.0 Poppy, all A's. So just started my second semester at the beginning of this week, and knocked it out the park as far as the first round of assignments, man. So I'm trying to, based on the program and how it's structured, I can finish. I need 30 credit hours in order to be able to graduate and get my master's. So with each class being worth 3 hours, I can take 10 classes to a semester. So if I keep track and keep going on the pace I'm at, I can get my master's next fall. So around this time next year, I'll be wrapping up my master's, and we'll be getting it next December. So fingers crossed, man. Got the first semester out the way and feel really great and confident about it. So that's been going on. That's been what's been going on with me. But moving on into the topics, I got a lot of topics on today's outline, man. First off, to address the elephant in the room, I wish I could have got my cousin Bryson on the call, man, but he had to work all week, bro. But I have to talk about this. Yachty has completely crashed out, man. Absolutely crashed out, man. You know, a couple weeks ago we talked about Karrahboo leaving Concrete and all the drama and speculation surrounding that. Well, we finally got some answers and a whole lot more over the past week. So what happened last week, y'all, I don't know if you tune in to Yachty's podcast, A Safe Place, one of my favorite podcasts out right now. I find it very funny and hilarious, man. And so shout out to Yachty and Mitch for the work they do on that show. But this past episode they put out, they had Key Glock on there. Everyone knows Key Glock, and so they were talking about young niggas out here robbing and stealing and, you know, being active in the streets, and how what do you say to the young niggas to get them to stop robbing and killing everybody? And Mitch was saying, you know, you just he would tell them to get a job and that there's better ways to do it. And Yachty pretty much started like asking him, like, why the fuck would you feel like you're qualified to say that when you've never had a job? You've been with me your whole life, you know? And he pretty much started going on for this tangent, like, you know, they used to be scammers. So, and then Yachty started rapping and blew up, and Mitch was always there. So it's like, you know, he's like, what would you be doing had you not been friends with me? Because I know you wouldn't get a job, you know? And a lot of people gave him a whole lot of flack for that, man. I'm not gonna lie, like, I watched the show, so I understand the dynamics between the two. And Yachty and Mitch always have like banter like that, where Yachty is like seems like he's dogging him out. But, you know, if you watch more of the show, you understand that's the relationship that they have. However, I do think that was just a tad bit corny, though, because he mentioned how, you know, Mitch was living with them, and, you know, Yachty pretty much was saying, like, if he wasn't rich, Mitch, you know, wouldn't be living the life that he is, which may be true. You know, it may be true, you know what I mean? But I just kind of feel like throwing it, like bringing it up and throwing it in somebody's face, especially in front of company. You know, Glock was sitting there just mad, uncomfortable the whole time. I do think that's kind of lame, because even if that's your homie and y'all been, you know, rocking for 10 whatever years, like, you know, everything that you do for somebody, if that's your man's, it should be done because you fuck with him. That's your man's, you know what I mean? But it's like, if you bring it up later in a sense of like, oh, you wouldn't be here without me, oh, I did this for you, I do that for you, it's like, were you doing that because you actually had love for me and you was in, like, you know, we homies, we boys, you fuck with me? Or is you just trying to stunt on me? Is that your way of stunting on me? And now that we have a disagreement, you want to throw it in my face to stun on me even harder, to make it seem like I'm forever indebted to you. And it's like, you know, I think that shit's super lame and corny, you feel me? I've definitely been in positions where I've been able to do a lot for my peers, put others in positions, introduce them to people, opportunities and stuff like that. Not one time have I ever been like, oh, it wouldn't have been without me. If it wasn't for me, it wasn't for me. Because I did it out of the heart, out of love. Even if I fell out with the nigga, we not cool no more, whatever the case is, I'm not finna bring it up as like, oh, that nigga wouldn't be this and that without me, I did that. No, because even if we not cool, I still did that out of love. But, you know, not saying that Yachty was trying to be malicious at all, but I can understand how it can come off to people and rub people the wrong way. You know what I mean? But like I said, everything is nuanced. That's just a relationship. But so that happened. Of course, Twitter was chopping his fucking head off, Yachty. And Karrahboo like does a tweet and delete, you know, and says, or like a few days before, she had tweeted like she's not gonna speak on anything because everything's gonna come to light soon. And then of course that happens and everyone's shitting on Yachty, and she does a tweet and delete and says, oh, this aged well, referring to her previous tweet about everything coming to light. And that's when people were saying, I see why Karrahboo left. And this girl had put up saying that she had ran into her at Karrahboo at Red Lobster, and she told her that all the dudes in Concrete was bullying her and they kicked her out and all this extra shit, man. And Yachty sees this, goes on live and just completely exposes her, says that she's 900 bands in the hole, saying that he wrote her verse for the On the Radar freestyle, saying that she claiming she's getting bullied, but she's really a terrible person, treats everybody around her like shit, man. And I just thought like, wow, you know, like, of course everyone is jumping on Yachty's back because he did say that, you know, he dressed her and all the niggas in Concrete. Everyone's jumping on Yachty's back right now because he's aligned himself with Drake. And as I covered on the show before, right now it's just very cool to hate on Drake. And since Yachty is his right hand man, of course people are going to hate on him. And so right now it's cool to hate on Yachty, even though, like, if you listen to him, he's not exactly wrong. I don't think Yachty is all that wrong in his feelings. His response may be a tad bit flawed, going on live and doing all this ranting and shit. Okay, he definitely could have kept it off the net. But you got to keep in mind, Karrahboo was his assistant, right? She was his assistant. Yachty took his assistant and pretty much gave her an entire career without lack of a, wrote her verse. He leaked the reference track of him. Like, here's the thing, bro. Yachty is writing everybody's music right now. Drake, the City Girls, Act Up, their first big hit. Yachty wrote that shit, bro. So it's like, he dropped the reference track. He wrote her On the Radar freestyle that ain't no nigga I could trust and knock off the dust. That shit was hard, man. And he wrote that shit. And talking about like, and you know, of course, I think that's probably the biggest blow that Karrahboo could have, especially at the beginning of her career. You know, people are like her because of her personality. She's a very pretty lady, you know, and comes off as a cool person on the net, so people were fucking with her as a personality. But music wise, you know, still trying to climb up the ladder music wise, and Yachty coming out and popping her balloon saying, I wrote your first hit that got you on. It's gonna brings a lot of jokes. A lot of people have been cracking jokes, man, on her about that whole situation, man. But like I said, man, I think Yachty is definitely justified in his feelings. If you put your neck out and fronting the bill for all these people, like he even said he didn't even want to do the podcast real because he's a rapper. What the fuck does he need to do a podcast for? He really did it for Mitch, you know, and getting all this backlash from the public, you would think that the people that he helped put on would have his back or stick up for him in some way. And you see that they either are adding to it, and in Karrahboo's case, or in Mitch's case, didn't took his time trying to, speak out against the hate that was going on, I could definitely understand why you would be pissed the fuck off. But going on live and airing everybody's business out, that was a little flaw, because now you're just opening up yourself for more hate. You know what I mean? I'm sure he doesn't care. Guys getting millions of dollars. He probably doesn't give a single fuck about what I gotta say right now. But still, you feel me? Like, it is what it is, man. If people are talking shit about you, bro, this is the internet, man. Something else is gonna come along, and people are gonna stop giving a fuck about it after a while. Plain and simple. Yachty's been at the center of controversies since the day he came on the scene. From his saying that Tupac was boring and all the niggas old, all this controversies from back 2016, 17, man. People stop giving a fuck. You know what I mean? It's like, after a while, just keep doing what you're doing, man. But, hopefully the podcast, Safe Place, doesn't end. Because he did say that the podcast was canceled. So hopefully that doesn't end. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure they're on a contract. So the next episode they do put out, if they do put it out, I think it's going to rack up 1 million. Within the first day or a week or two, because I'm pretty sure everybody's going to want to hear or see what happens on the podcast, especially after all the commotion that's been happening over the past week, man. Moving on, Nicki Minaj was also made some waves. She got on like one of those voice live things, whatever those, how Twitter has spaces. Forget the name of the platform, but she was on there going on a rant, essentially upset because the rap girlies are not signing to her label, heavy on it, saying that they'd rather sign with the white man, and then the white labels, and those white labels end up calling her to do a feature for them, and blah 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 blah, and I ain't gonna lie, I thought that shit was lame as absolute fuck. Why in the world would you want to sign to Nicki Minaj or any rapper at that moment, at that point? Because one, if you sign to a rapper, especially a rapper like Nicki Minaj, who was so obsessed with being on top and number one and being acknowledged as the queen, if you sign to her, what makes you think she's going to put any effort into making sure that you succeed and thrive the way that you deserve? Come on now. And then just to hate on everyone and who doesn't sign to you, what the fuck? Like, I don't know, bro. Nicki Minaj, I always give Nicki her credit as the woman who has completely set the standard for every single female rapper that we see in the game today. She is the architect and the illustrator of the blueprint of every single female artist that we see in the game today. And I will never not admit that. Never. However, she is tarnishing her legacy by being a hating ass nigga. Like, why do every time a new girl comes out, get some buzz, whether it's with you or without you, why every time a new girl gets some buzz, you always have to find an issue with them and demonize them for not kissing your ass and telling the whole entire world that you're the queen? Like, yes, you set the blueprint. You none of this would be happening if it wasn't for you without your influence. But does everyone have to acknowledge that? Why does everyone have to acknowledge you? Who the fuck you think you is? Roman Reigns? Like, what the fuck? I just think that shit is so crazy, man. I've been on this podcast, I've come out and said Lil Wayne has set the blueprint for a lot of the male rappers that we see today. Do you see Lil Wayne coming out and demanding that every new rapper comes out and pay him his respect? Do you see Jay-Z coming out and demanding that every rapper who wants to become a mogul and venture into business pays him respect for showing them the way? No. So why do you feel the need that every single female rapper that comes in the game and gets a little buzz about themselves need to drop to their knees and worship the ground that you walk on? Isn't just I grew up listening to Nicki enough? What the fuck? And every single time I talk about this on Instagram, there's always barbs pop up in my messages like, oh, you need to acknowledge the queen. Shut the fuck up. Like, bro, I don't know, man. Such a delusional fan base, bro. But I just think that getting upset because no one wants to sign with you, that just makes, and publicly ranting about it, that's not going to make anybody want to sign with you. It's kind of like, bro, if it's like if you're promoting a party and it's not selling well, tickets aren't selling well, and you go online and, man, why nobody buying tickets to my party? Why nobody buying tickets to my party? Blah, 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 man, ain't nobody want to come to my party. No one's definitely finna come now because you just told everybody it ain't popping. What the fuck? No. And time again, we've seen time and time again, rappers signed to a rapper and it does not go their way. I would say that the only rapper that has signed other rappers and has seen success is Lil Wayne. I mean, Nicki Minaj, product of Lil Wayne. And Drake, product of Lil Wayne. Tyga too. And if we're being real, those are probably the top. Lil Wayne with Drake, Nicki Minaj, and Tyga. With Lil Wayne having them three niggas on Young Money, bro, he has solidified himself as probably one of the best A&Rs in the game. Because those three have gone on and have solidified themselves in the rap game without his name. Of course, you know, they were signed to Young Money, but they have all gone on to solidify their own separate brands and are viable on their own. Drake, Nicki, and Tyga, probably on the Mount Rushmore of Young Money artists. Currency, very early on, but you know, I'm talking about in the 2010s era. But I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah, Gucci Mane, but as we see, you know, the 1017, it is what it is, man. But signing to a rapper never really pans out very well, you know, and it's like, because the rapper, especially if the rapper is hot, he's gonna make sure he stays hot or she stays hot. And Nicki is obsessed with being number one. Why the fuck would anyone sign to you and everything about you? You're not, you know, I would not feel comfortable signing Nicki. That doesn't seem like it would be fair to me. Absolutely not. No. Moving on, I've seen a lot of people debating. So last episode I talked about Lotto dropped her album Sugar Honey Iced Tea. One of my favorite projects of the summer. I've been banging that shit for the past 2 weeks like she's one of the guys, man. Bro, she was talking big shit on that motherfucker, bro. Killed that mother. But I was seeing people on Twitter talking about she had flopped because she sold like 20 something K. Let's look up Lotto's album sales for Sugar Honey Iced Tea. Let's see here. Lotto gets official but disappointing first week sales for Sugar Honey Iced Tea. Where does it say? First off, she debuted number 14 on the Billboard 200 and sold 29K in the first week. Debuted at number 14 on the Billboard 200 and sold 29,000 copies in the first week, and people are still calling Lotto a flop? What the fuck? Bro, this whole new wave of criticizing music sales to me is the dumbest thing of all time. Because one, people don't even consume music like they did back in the day. Now, if this was like 2003, where people actually had to go out into a record store and buy physical CDs, and they've put millions of dollars into her album rollout over the past couple months with these singles, features, videos, all this shit, man, and she sells 29,000 copies, yes, that would be considered a flop. But in today's era where nobody is buying music, everything is streaming, 29,000 equivalent album sales is still a lot of streams. Let's look up her streams right now, actually. Let's go to Spotify and look up Lotto Sugar Honey Iced Tea and see how many streams it's sitting at right now, right? Let's look this up real quick. Sugar Honey Iced Tea. Album by Lotto. Yeah, maybe I gotta look it up on the computer. But, and the thing is like, people will look at these numbers and just go on oh, she's a flop, she's a failure, her album failed. 29,000 sales. Billboard 14 on the Billboard 200. That's a top 20 album. How is that a failure? Let's look at this. All right. How the fuck do you see the streams on here, bro? All right, I can't find it. But either way, I'm pretty sure it's definitely in the millions for sure, man. I can't find it on here. I'm having a hard time. I've got to record still. But 29,000 copies. People aren't going out and buying CDs anymore. It's all streaming. So like even like that's still millions and millions of streams. That should count for something. And why do people always base everything on first week sales? As if time stops after a week. Like I said, the album came out like 2-3 weeks ago. I'm still bumping it. I don't know, man. I think that's really stupid, bro. Because not only do they do it to her, they try to say that none of the rap girlies, nobody is selling records. And like, I feel like we put all this pressure on every single artist every time they drop a song or an album. Like everything has to go number one. Everything has to sell like a billion copies in the first week. That is not feasible. Every artist cannot be number one. I think Shabuzi, a bar song, is number one on the charts as of today, August 27th. Shabuzi is at number one. Okay, and a bar song is hard. This song's been out for like months. All right, it's completely not feasible for every single artist to have every song they drop just be the biggest song in the world, because if everything drops and goes number one, come on now, that's just so unrealistic. And just because the song doesn't go number one, doesn't chart in the top 10, 20, 30, whatever, does not mean it's a failure. It's a lot of shit that's fucking bangers that's nowhere near on the charts. I don't know, man. I think that whole culture and that narrative that people try to spin anytime people drop an album and it doesn't sell an astronomical amount of units or whatever, sell in heavy quotations, I think that's all stupid as fuck, bro. And even the artists that don't sell as well or don't stream as well has all this clout on social media. Everyone's always talking about them. Everyone is always posting their, anytime there's some drama or whatever, everyone always has something to say about them. But when they drop some music, it's crickets. What the fuck is up with that, man? I'd be pissed as hell if I was these new artists, bro. And I have to look at this shit on the internet every single day. I just spent all this, y'all turn up to y'all making all these TikToks and shit to my song. Every time someone mentions, like, y'all always got anything to say about my person. Like, well, I drop some music, oh, y'all, no. And then you want to turn around and say I'm a flop, I'm a failure because my shit didn't sell 1 million the first week. I didn't go platinum on the first day. Shut the fuck up. That shit is dumb, bro. That is dumb. Very, very dumb, man. Moving on, I still got a few minutes left, man. So I did a poll on my Instagram today. I was having a conversation with a homegirl of mine. We were talking about men being sassy. So I went and did a poll on my Instagram and asked a simple question. I asked, what makes a man sassy? What makes a man sassy? And I had a lot of very interesting responses. First being having a Zeus Network subscription. I totally agree. As a man, why the fuck are you watching baddies? Okay? What the hell is on there for you to watch? A bunch of drunk ass Instagram hoes getting drunk and beating each other up? Natalie Nunn, 57-year-old Chin, beating up a bunch of 20-year-old Instagram bitches? No! Come on now. Watch the news or something, nigga. What the fuck is wrong with you? That was dumb. Second, I had someone had put up what the fuck? Being stingy when a girl asks for some money or needs something. Get a fucking job. Plain and simple. If I'm sassy because I'm not getting any money, oh the fuck well. Alright. Someone else had commented, putting bottles on their head. If I spent $80 on a bottle, that bottle's going anywhere I wanted to. Especially we in the club. You buy a bottle in the club, that's an easy $150, $200. I don't give a fuck. All right, but some of these were good points. Okay, some of these people didn't have some good points. Someone commented, said pillow talking. I think pillow talking is some of the bitch made shit you can do. Dirty Mac and pillow talking, one of the same. I feel like if you got to steep to dirty macking and snaking out your man to get some ass, one, you don't get no bitches, and two, ain't no telling what else you do. I can't stand a dirty macking ass nigga. And one, it always comes back to you. Like, I've been on the receiving end of dirty macking so many times, and every single time it always comes back to me. The girl always comes like, do you know such and such about these? And I can never look at the nigga the same. All these bitches out here, you gotta shit on me to get. Come on now, no, bro. Shit's lame as fuck. Shit's lame as fuck. Got another one. Commenting on women's business. I'm not gonna lie, y'all be having some very interesting stuff to talk about sometimes. People can argue that I was talking about women's business on today's episode with Nicki Minaj and Lotto and shit. I'm a fan. Stop being so interested. Some of y'all just being real. Just being real. But I don't know, man. I think the whole sassy narrative is very interesting because, you know, I think a lot of it is rooted in men just having boundaries and standards. You know, for the longest time, we have just gone along with, you know, the women's malarkey. Oh, you got to do this, you know, that, you blah blah blah. And you know, I think recently men have just started to examine the women that are making these ludicrous demands and realizing that they're not living up to the same standards that they're requiring. And we're just standing on business. And of course, you know, I get if that's got to be set on. That's the way I see it. I think men are just becoming more firm in their boundaries and standards, and women are upset about it. Women are upset about it. I know personally, I've created a rule. If a woman doesn't have a car, crib, or job, she does not need any penis from you. Plain and simple. If she can't get around on her own, she has no place. You know, it's one thing if she has roommates or something, or you know, but like if she living with her mama, 27 years old, come on now. No, let's be a big girl now and get in an apartment. Okay, no job. What the fuck? How are you paying for shit? Okay, there's no reason for any. No, I just can't do it. And you know, and as men, we all have dry spells and have had to, you know, pick off the bottom shelf every once in a while. We've all been there, you know. But if you continue to pick off the bottom shelf, that becomes all you can do. You know, you get a hunch in your back, and that's all you can get. You feel me? So I think men should continue to have standards and actually raise them. And if we get called sassy while doing so, so be it. Casualty of war. Oh man, I'm going to end it on that note. I've actually been almost hitting the 30-minute mark, so I'm going to end it on that note. So if you have made it this far, thank you very much. Make sure you tune in to all the other episodes. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, all that extra stuff. Watch all the other interviews and episodes we got. If you're listening, thank you for listening. We're on all other platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, anywhere you get your podcasts from. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, YSN Radio 1. Check out the website, ysnradio.com. And this weekend, if you're watching this in real time, Saturday, August 31st, Rich Homie Quan live in Knoxville at the Mill and Mod. I will be DJing that show. Make sure you get your tickets. Link will be in the description below. Thank you very much. If you got it this far, man, it's been another episode of the coolest podcast in the South, YSN Radio. Let's go.